15 years ago, I experienced a difficult divorce and 4 surgeries for breast cancer over the same 18-month period. This dark night of the soul time in my life was a period when my pain manifested in feelings like shame, disappointment, and anger, pushed me to make a change when I decided in a defining moment to shine my own light on the bright future, which I've been living for quite some time now. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Amy Minkoff, your Happy Success Catalyst, and I help visionary leaders, professionals, and business owners take their work and their life to the next level for even more happiness and even more success. And today, I'm going to show you some of those same tools I apply to change my life, the tools I use with my successful clients to help you overcome uncertainty. And specifically, I'm going to show you the power of a crystal clear vision and 3 secrets for helping you navigate the uncertainty in your life and in your work. And it is my intention today to support you with tools you can implement right away, whatever the challenges are you're facing. And some of the challenges I understand people in your shoes might be facing include things like this. First of all, it feels like a struggle to constantly deal with people on the internet, whether they're customers or employees. Or you're struggling to attract enough business where people are actually willing to buy. Everyone seems reluctant to invest in your product or service, even if it would make complete sense for them. Or you're trying to figure out what message would truly resonate with your prospects right now. Whatever it is that you're navigating, whatever uncertainty looks like to you, what we're going to look at today is the power of vision, of decision, and of navigating your fear to overcome uncertainty with increased calm, confidence, and yes, joy along the way. Before I move on, I have 2 housekeeping items. 1, please have a couple of sheets of paper or a journal. I want you to be able to capture ideas that truly resonate with you. And also a little later, we'll be doing an exercise that involves a little bit of writing. And then the other thing I'm going to say is in the 40 minutes or so that I'll be with you now on the floor, I'm going to give you 100% of what I've got with specific tools you can use immediately. Some of you, however, will be getting very curious about what it would be like to go even deeper with what I'm showing you today. And if this is you, I have a gift for you, which I'll share at the end. All right, let's get going. Now, before I reveal the 3 secrets, I'm giving you a bonus tool right now, which when you understand it will help you better leverage the secrets I'm about to share. And I call this the results formula. And when it's effectively applied, I actually call it a success cascade, and it has 4 parts. The first is our thoughts, which drive our feelings. In turn, our feelings influence the actions that we're willing to take. And everyone knows that depending on our actions, we create different results. And what's most important is to see from this illustration that our thoughts are at the root cause of all of our results, and that there's a causal relationship between thoughts, feelings, actions, and results. But as humans, often what we do instead of looking internally to understand our results. We look to the outside to explain what's going on. And we end up adopting what I call a system of becauses. And they look something like this. Oh man, I can't deal with people because I have to do it online all the time. Or nobody's buying now. There's no way I can grow my business. Or I can't change careers now because I don't have the education or the training. Or even on a personal note, I can't attract the love of my life because I'm not attractive enough, I'm not thin enough, I'm not good in any way. But what it really boils down to is what's going on in here, what we've been thinking. And if you want to know what you've been thinking, then look at your results. Why? Because our results never lie. And as I move on from this idea, I will say this. We cannot always control everything that's going on around us. And for sure, we all know that right now, based on what's going on in the world. But what we do have 100% dominion over is our experience with what's going on around us. One of my mentors, Mary Morrissey, said, "It is the content of our lives that is the curriculum for our evolution." Now, I believe this, that you are far more capable of even more than you realize. I know that you can rise above circumstance, go beyond condition, no matter what the situation, even in the face of uncertainty. Now, I know some of you in the audience and some of you I don't know, but what I know about every one of us in this room is that we all have challenges ahead. And how do I know this? Because we're human. And outside of the pandemic, I know that each and every one of you brings your unique set of challenges into your life and your work. And the amazing thing is that dreams manifested are often born out of the challenges we face. And as I just said before, the content of our lives is the curriculum for our growth. And we have 2 signals for growth. And these are going to help us with the secrets. Firstly, one signal is our longing. This is, oh, if only I could be, do, or have this thing or this experience in my life or my work. And then the second signal, the growth signal, is our discontent. We all know this one. This is the stuff that's not working. And you see, we're often pushed by our pain, often of fearing the unknown, until we are pulled by our vision. And that is the first secret. Designing a dream or a vision for the results we would truly love in our work, in our life. So let me help you with that. First, ask yourself this deceptively simple, highly powerful question. What do you really want in terms of your results moving through this period of life with the pandemic? 3 years from now even, what do you really want in your life and in your work? Now, when I work with my successful clients, I use this construct of 4 quadrants. Let me quickly introduce you to them. First is our health and well-being. This is also not only physical, but also mental and spiritual well-being. Then relationships, whether we have a significant other, family, friends, professional relationships, and even how we relate to communities. Third area is vocation, our work in the world, whether we earn money doing it or not. This is our, and also, so if it's something where we don't earn money, so what is included is raising a family or taking care of elders. In vocation is also our passions and our hobbies. For some of us, we're blessed, so the passion and the work is the same. Whether it's the same or separate, it's in the vocation area. Lastly, time and money freedom. This is our non-refundable leisure time and the resources we need to support this and the other areas. So right now, I'm inviting you to look at each of these areas and very quickly, at a gut level, give yourself a satisfaction rating for each of these 4 areas on a scale from 1 to 10. 10 is a perfect 10. 1 is very disappointing. Do this quickly. It's between you and you. It's a baseline or a frame of reference to answer this question, which is, what would I love in these areas? In other words, if it were a 10 in each of these areas, what would it take? And I'm going to help you now, because what we're doing is we are creating a vision that will be powerful and of service to us. And I'm doing this with you so you can understand how to create a crystal clear vision. Now it's time for that exercise. I call it time machine. We're looking 3 years ahead, and as long as you are not driving, I invite you now to close your eyes, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a guided meditation. Take a deep breath. Imagine in your lap there's a book, and every page is a day of your life with many pages on the right and on the left. The left is written on, and the right is blank with many white pages. You have been given the power and authority to fill the white pages. Now, it's 3 years from now. Everything happened the way you would love. Look upon the landscape of your life and explore the areas I just mentioned. First, health and well-being, physical, mental, and spiritual health. Call forth the ideal image of your health and well-being. How do you feel in your body? What activities do you engage in? What do you eat? How do you feel in your heart and in your mind? What would you love? Next, relationships. Significant other, whether you have one or want to attract one. Family, friends, professional relationships, and communities. What new relationships do you long to attract? What existing ones would you love to strengthen or deepen? What would these relationships be like? What discord would you like to resolve? What would you love in the area of relationships? Now let's move to vocation and imagine it's all worked out. Your business goals have been achieved. If you run a business, what revenue and profit have you generated? If you work for someone else, what results have you contributed? Who are your ideal customers? What do you love about your work in the world? What's been getting you enthusiastic about waking up every day and living into your work? What does it look like and feel like? And how have you shown up every day in support of that? What would you love? Finally, time and money freedom. This is your non-refundable leisure time and the resources to support this and the other areas. What are your work hours? How many weeks of vacation are you taking? What are you doing with your disposable income? And how are you spending your leisure time? Finally, in what ways are you giving money, time, love, and ideas? What would you love in the area of time and money freedom? Okay, I'm welcoming you back into the room. 3, 2, 1. And now what we're going to do is I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Get out that journal or piece of paper. And I'm inviting you to write down the ideas that came up for you during the meditation. These are the images, the feelings, what you love about the life you saw, the results. So I'm actually setting my timer now for 2 minutes, and I'd like you to jot things down, bullets and phrases. And I'm also going to give you the slide with the 4 quadrants. Feel free to focus on one or let it flow from all 4. Don't overthink it. Jot down now what's come up for you. I'll give you a warning when there are 30 seconds up. Or 30 seconds left, I should say. So you're jotting down now thoughts and images that came up for you. There's about a minute left. Okay, you now have about 30 seconds to capture the most powerful and inspiring elements of your vision. Okay, time is up. Pens and pencils down. And now, congratulations. You have created the framework for your vision, for the results you would truly love. And after this meeting, you can flesh it out, include more detail, but you are on your way. That is the first secret to overcoming uncertainty. Now, that vision, however, will not serve you unless you apply the second secret, which is deciding for your dream results. So what I'm saying is there's a power in deciding and committing to that dream and taking action, even in the face of uncertainty, even when you don't know 100% of all the steps that have to be taken to get to the result. You don't know the full plan. It is that commitment that allows for momentum, that allows for the action. And it is often when we take the initial steps that we end up illuminating what is that next right thing. So many of us are so caught up in knowing the whole plan up front. And this story about a man who goes to the bank the old school way will help drive the point home. So the man goes into the bank and the teller says, well, sir, you'll have to endorse the check first. And he says, no, I prefer for you to give me the money. How do I know you're going to give me my money? The teller says, sir, banking policy requires you sign the check first. Well, he's not having it. He creates a big argument and scene and storms out of the bank, runs across the street to another bank, where he creates a similar scene that ends the same way, where he storms out because he wouldn't sign the check first. He has to drive now to the third bank, around the corner, and in he walks. He begins to create a similar scenario, but this teller has a different working style. She reaches down under her desk, gets out an inflatable plastic baseball bat, and whacks him on the shoulder. A few minutes later, he leaves with his money. But on the way home, he first stops at the initial bank. He storms in, waving his money, and he says, look, I got my money. The first teller says, "Sir, I presume you were required to sign the check first." And he says, "Well, yes, I had to do that, but nobody explained it as well as they did where I just came from." I always get a chuckle out of this story. Why? Because I have seen myself in that story. You see, we've got to have the courage to put our name on that vision, to sign the check, to do these things before conditions change, because it's when we sign and when we commit that the money flows and providence moves in our favor. So the moral of the story is, do not wait for the perfect moment. Rather, take this moment and make it perfect. This is your moment to take action, even in the face of uncertainty. All right. Now we've got the vision, we've got commitment and decision on behalf of that vision. But before I reveal the third secret, I'd like to tell you Dorothy's success story. Dorothy is a successful client who came to me facing major uncertainty. She was a senior executive in a large organization and had just been given a whole new load of additional responsibility and workload, and get this, without any additional resources, let alone additional pay. And you see, Dorothy felt scared, worried, and just so concerned about figuring out how to get just the first workload done. Forget about the new stuff, and to the level of excellence that both she and her organization expected. But she was working late, taking work home, working on weekends, and the team wasn't as effective together as they normally are, and they weren't, in terms of collaboration, and they were being inefficient. So she just had no idea what to do. But she did decide for her vision and enroll with me before she saw how it would all work out. And 6 weeks into our time together, she was no longer staying late. She was leaving at 5 o'clock. She was leaving the office behind and having weekends to herself. And the byproduct of these results were that she had more time for family and to take care of a previously neglected health concern. You see, Dorothy made a decision for the results she truly wanted. And we worked on her self-leadership and her leadership to motivate her team to collaborate and to be more effective. So now let's look at that third secret. So you've got the beginnings of your vision and you've decided for this thing, but now I'm going to show you how important navigating your fear is. Because often we say, I'm doing this thing. And then once we realize the commitment we've made, we say, oh my gosh, what did I just sign up for? And fear rises up in us. And you see, actually, that fear is the good news. We're at the edge of the life we've known up until now, and a little bit of fear is necessary, especially in times of a threat or uncertainty. But once we've assessed the facts and conditions, now it's time to take action in spite of that fear. And now let me help you with that. If you look back, for those of us who are blessed to be able to walk, when we were learning how to walk, most of us were blessed to have support. And one thing you should know, as adults, what successful people do is ask for help, even invest in professional help. It's what successful people do. Another thing, when we look back at our learning to walk experience, is I guarantee you all fell lots of times along the way. But I also don't think any of you said, nah, I don't know about this thing. I don't think I'm destined to walk. Forget it. Every one of you rose up every time you fell down. So let that experience of persistence be something you can bring into your life now, even in the face of uncertainty. Now, you might be asking me, well, come on, Amy, how do I really do that? Well, at the highest level, I'm asking you, when the fear rises up, to reconnect with your vision. And you're saying to me, well, what does that really look like? Okay, so let me give you a series of 7 steps that you can use to walk through your fear and take that action. So the first thing you want to do is to acknowledge the fear. We're not even denying the actual conditions. You want to acknowledge the fear is there. Second, notice what your reaction is. Many of us can feel the fear in our bodies. I want to remind you of the power of your breath here. I'm going to go in a little more detail here, because when you leverage your breath in this manner, taking in an even number of counts on the in-breath and exhaling on an even number of counts, with in, your mouth closed, out, your mouth slightly open, lips pursed as though breathing through a straw. This matters to you because when you do this, you are actually deactivating the part of your nervous system that governs fight or flight, which is problem mode, and you are activating the part of your nervous system that governs what I call rest, digest, and create mode. This is the energetic state where we have the power to identify and seize opportunities and solutions to challenges. Next, focus on what really matters. We want to make sure, even as we navigate uncertainty and cope with our fear, that we find ways to touch on a full spectrum life, to find joy in all 4 areas, those quadrants I showed you, even when we're navigating uncertainty. Next, as I just said, at the highest level, once we've done these preliminary steps, come back to your vision. That's what is important to me and why is it important? Your why. And then once we've done that, this number 5, I love this. Ask yourself who you're being today. If you imagine 3 years from now, your vision is accomplished and you're talking to the you of today, what advice would you give to yourself about who you're being now, how you're showing up? And then, this is advice from my mentor. Do what you can where you are with what you have. This means answering the question, what's an action I can take even if I'm afraid? Courage is not the eradication of fear. It's taking the action in the face of fear and getting comfortable being uncomfortable, not for the sake of discomfort, but for the sake of growth. And finally, know this, if it resonates with you. At the soul level, you can rise above circumstance because there is a power breathing you that gives you that rest, digest, create energy. And at the human level, getting support is what successful people do. So there you have it, a series of steps to navigate your fear. And let's ground what we've started today. You've started the framework for your vision and you're deciding for it. You're deciding how you're moving through the uncertainty of the challenges. And there is something you can do today. What is that thing before you put your head on the pillow tonight that you can say, I took that step? I want you to write it down right now in your journal or in your calendar at what time you're doing it, when it'll be done by. Because that vision means nothing without the action, and you probably won't act unless you've made a decision for it. So, what have we covered? Well, first, I gave you the success cascade, the results formula, that thoughts are at the root cause of all our results by driving our feelings, actions, and ultimately our results. An understanding and application of this principle will help you apply the 3 secrets. First, designing your vision. And I showed you how to do it in a way that will make it clear, asking what you would love and then looking ahead to the results. George Washington Carver once said, without a vision, there is no hope, in this case, for overcoming uncertainty. And secret number 2 is deciding for your vision so that providence will move for you in support of you. And it's a willingness to decide for the initial action in the absence of knowing 100% of how it'll unfold. That initial step and the next one will help illuminate what should follow. And finally, navigating your fear, not eradicating it, helping you take steps in service of your vision. Now, I promised a gift for those of you who are curious now, who are inspired to not only apply what I've given you, and all of you can do this, but you want to do it in more depth for even more sustainable results. So if this is you, I'm inviting you to sign up for a gratis strategy session. And Nina, if she hasn't done it already, is putting a link in the chat, which you can copy and paste into your browser, and it will take you to my calendar. Now, I've carved out in between speaking and coaching a few openings specifically for this group over the next 2 days. Grab a spot before they go and spend 45 minutes with me on the phone. I'll be with you like a master architect works with their client on their dream home. And I will help you increase your clarity in 3 areas. First, around this vision that you've begun to create. It'll be even clearer than it is right now. Number 2, I will show you what's been holding you back up until now, and you'll get really clear on what you want to shift. And then third, I'll help you get clear on that right next bold action in service of your vision. So you'll know if this is for you. Do it now, grab it, do it. It's most important to follow through on things like this while that enthusiasm is fresh. Any challenges with the technology, write to me at my email, which should also be in the chat, Amy, A-M-Y, at amyminkoffcoaching.com. Let me know you want a strategy session. If I've got an opening, it's yours. And if they're filled, you'll end up on my waiting list. All right. So I'm going to wrap up very quickly with the story. I'm going to get up really close and personal about a man who owns a barbershop. I'm going to stop sharing and tell you this really sweet story of a man. He lives in the Midwest. He tells his son, who's home from grad school, over Christmas holiday that he's got to close the business. 3 generations. He's really disappointed. The son says, it's okay, Dad. I get it. Do what you've got to do. But one thing, I've learned this amazing system for uncovering new ideas. It's a systematic approach. And would you try it with me? The dad's reluctant, but they do it. And they do come up with an idea. And the father implements the idea for the business after the son returns to school. Fast forward 8 weeks to spring break. The son is home. And with a glint in his eye, the dad says, well, son, we're still open. Our business is up 11% versus our best previous year. Everyone's been paid, and the rent is also covered. So what is the idea they implemented? We fix $6 haircuts is the sign they put in the front window. It didn't cost them a cent. Why this matters to you is if you're feeling uncertainty, unsure of how to proceed because of what's going on in today's world, work the tools I showed you today. Come to a strategy session. Consider doing some work and investing in your dream. I leave you with this question. Will your results a year from now be created by default or by design? Thank you so much, everybody.